Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. Neha miss, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good evening, ma'am, and good evening, my dear teachers. This is Neha. Today, I am going to share information regarding to the storytelling in classroom. I just asked one question to all my teachers. क्या हम सबने अपने बचपन में स्टोरी सुना है अपने ग्रैंडफादर ग्रैंडमदर अपने मदर फादर के थ्रू श्योरली सुना ही होगा सो storytelling we can implement storytelling method in your daily teaching life in your for all subjects storytelling can be used as a method to teach ethics values culture norms and differences. So I will share a PPT. This is visible. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So storytelling. What is the story? A story is a narrative account of an event or a sequence of events. It can be true or fictional, but a good story always has a core element of truth, even if it is fiction. The message the story tells must be true. It must be consistent and authentic. A story adds emotions, characters, and sensory detail to great facts. That's why a story grabs us, puts us along its plot, and delivers its key message powerfully. Everyone has a story to tell. We all remember stories from our childhood. We know real life stories from our friends and families. We read books, and saw memorable web movies that move us, drove us to tear, or made us laugh out loud. Our organizations are full of story. If you look close, stories are all around us. Our lives are a collection of stories. So, what is a story in the classroom? Storytelling as a teaching strategy. The human need to communicate personal experience makes storytelling unnatural. Why to design lesson? Faculties can make converse storytelling a regular features of their classes to increase student interest, empathy, trust, and sense of connections. What is story? Storytelling is the art to tell a story in order to engage an audience. Storytelling is a wonderful way to build creativity and imagination in your student. The storyteller convey a message, information and knowledge in an entertaining way. Literally, technique and non-verbal language are his tools. So, a most of important things about the storytellings in its 4 P's in storytelling, like people, place, plot and purpose. आप ये सोच रहे होंगे कि 4 P का क्या रोल है? People, people that means सही लोगों को सही समय पर सही कहानी, तभी वो सक्सेस होती है। किसी भी कहानी के सक्सेस के पीछे 4 पीस होते हैं। अगर सही समय पर सही कहानी ना सुनाई जाए तो कहानी की वैल्यू खत्म हो जाती है। आपने सही व्यक्तियों को भी सही कहानी नहीं सुनाई तो भी उसकी अपने आप से एक सुंदरता कम हो जाती है। Now, storytelling boosts learning in the classroom. Storytelling create a stronger connection with student. Yes, really relaxes relaxes students and lower barriers, engage and hold the learner's attention, gives difficult concept real context, makes facts more memorable, encourage students to share their own experience. Like, see, storytelling gives us an opportunity to learn from another person's experience and it can share and challenges our opinion and values. When storytelling catch our attentions and engage us, we are more likely to observe that message. कोई भी कहानी इतनी सरलता से सुनाई जानी चाहिए ताकि सरलता से समझ में भी आ जाए। जब भी कहानी के थॉट्स किसी भी सब्जेक्ट के कॉन्सेप्ट को आप पढ़ाते हैं क्लासेस में, उसकी इतनी सरलता से सुनानी होनी चाहिए ताकि बच्चे खुद को कहानी के कैरेक्टर में फील करें, इवन उस कैरेक्टर में वो खुद में खो जाएं, उन्हें वो सब कुछ दिखाई दे जो हम अपनी स्टोरी में बोल रहे हैं। Now this time I tell you one story. The thief and the sage. Once upon a time in the city of Patna, there lived a thief whose name was Kalu. He often used to roam in city at night to steal from people's house. One night, he was passing by a house which was locked since several days. He curiously peeped through the window of the house and saw a small lamp growing inside. He felt alarmed that somebody was inside. He waited for several minutes, but nobody came out. Now Kalu again tried to look inside and saw a coat and 2 cupboards in the room. He silently twisted the window grill and managed to enter the house. Few pieces of gold very laying scared on the floor. Kalu felt very delighted and lucky. He thanked God and thought, there is so much gold in this house. Wow! If I take all of it today, I will never need to steal anymore. Kalu hurried, started picking up the pieces of gold in his cloth bag. But just when he finished collecting all the gold, more gold pieces appeared on the floor. He again started collecting them greedily. In that way, whenever Kalu filled his bag with all the gold pieces and wanted to leave the house, more gold appeared on the same floor. He decided to stay back that night and collect more gold every time it appeared. The next morning, he wanted to get out of the house. He felt afraid of being seen by someone. He was very scared and thought, it's morning now. If someone sees me with this gold in my bag, then I would get arrested and be killed for sure. I cannot even run now. Let me hide. Stay inside this house till tonight. I would leave the house after sunset. He decided. Now, after some time, a sadhu opened the door and into the house. He found a bundle laying on the floor. The sadhu thought, who was left this bundle? Who came to the house when I was away? He quickly opened the bag and found it full of ash. Kalu also saw this from behind the cupboard, but he put the gold pieces in my bag, turned into ash. I had myself picked them and filled the bag, wondered Kalu. After some time, when the sadhu was leaving the house, Kalu appeared as he was being gracious, and to know the fact, he said, Maharaj, I am a thief. I entered your house last night to steal something. I saw the gold pieces laying on the floor. I collecting those pieces in my bag. The bundle which you opened this is mine. Now it is as I do not understand how the gold pieces have changed into. Please explain. The sadhu said, this house was diving influence. Every night, the earthen lamp glow and the gold pieces are scattered on the floor. But when those gold pieces are collected, they change to as God has brought you to this house so that you learn a lesson. Greed is never a good habit. You must leave the bad habit of stealing. Kalu touched the sadhu's feet and promised to leave his profession of stealing forever. So this is the moral of this story. It never too late to change your bad habit. So this is the story. I will take the pauses. I will change my characters. I will change my voice. So now next slide. The teaching required powerful strategy to transmit knowledge. Storytelling is a useful and emotional tools that teachers at any educational level or field or study can use to enhance the educational experience of their students. Every story needs a direction, emotions, and meaning. Tips to create memorable stories. Okay, I have one story more. Like once upon a time, there was a boy. His name was Anirudh, and he was only 7 years old, even 6.5 years old. He was very intelligent student, but he could not memorize about the solar system. It just not taken his mind also. One day, his teacher told the story of solar system and planets, galaxy, and all. His teacher created imagination on story. She show like a chartboard also, chart paper also. He cut up pieces of planet, galaxy, and all. How Mercury and she telling like how Mercury is closed friend to Sun and other and how Venus and other planets jealous with Mercury. Okay, like this type of way. So he is related to the solar planet and all. After telling the story, Anirudh was devoting the whole solar system and all the planets in the right order with the help of paper cuts and some creative story also. Okay, so what is the value of storytelling? Storytelling connects us, help us make sense of the world and communicates our values and beliefs. A good story make us think and feel and speak to us in way that number, data, and presentation slides simply can't. So tips to create memorable scene. Commit yourself to the story and to your audience. Use modulation and dramatic. Tell your story with gesture, body language, and movement. Create mental images through descriptions made with all the senses. Make eye contact with each of your students to emphasize what is important going on in this story. Interaction through questions. What can storytelling offer? Children have an innate love of stories. Story creates magic, really, and a sense of wonder at the world. Story teaches about life, about ourselves, and about others. Storytelling is a unique way for students to develop and understanding, respect, and appreciation for other cultures and can promote a positive attitude to people from different lands, races, and regions. So, what is the role of story? Storytelling can communicate the physical, intellectual, and emotional aspect of a person in the context of their past or present experience, which enable a full understanding of the individuals. Storytelling in the intercultural understandings. There are way in which storytelling can enhance intercultural understanding and communication. Stories can allow children to explore their own roots, like Anirudh is develop here their own roots, allow children to experience diverse cultures, enable children to empathize with unfamiliar people, place, and situations, offer insight into different traditions and values. Children understand how wisdom is common to all people, all cultures. Even offer insight into universal life experience. Help children consider new ideas. Reveal differences and communities of culture around the world. Storytelling is a powerful. Storytelling told by leaders get the attention of their listeners, especially personal stories. Like this time, I will tell you personal story with Anirudh Singh and all. They make leaders more relatable to their audience. They inspire trust and confidence, and they can be used as a rallying cry and united action. So I tell you real fact. There was a Anirudh Singh. He is not a person. He is my child, and those teacher is teaching him a solar system. He is I am only. I say is I am only. I'm the teacher of him. So benefit of using storytelling in the classroom: promote a feeling of well-being and relaxation. Increase children's willingness to communicate thoughts and feelings. Encourage action participation. Encourage verbal proficiency. Encourage use of imagination and creativity. Encourage cooperation between students. Encourage listening skill. Performance skill. Make your body and face respond to the table. Tell. Remember to pace yourself. Have a clear focus on maintain concentration. Use silence and pause to add dramatic effect. Maintain engaging eye contact with the audience. बड़ा नहीं हो सकता, बड़ा नहीं हो सकता। now I share you on videos. मेरा नहीं आएगा पीछे से भी Am I audible? Yes, ma'am. आवाज पता नहीं कहाँ है This video is audible? No. Miss? Kavita miss? No, miss. No, miss. Audio is not coming. We're not able to hear voice. बीच में तो पिक्चर दिखाना part of the story. Yes, ma'am. It's possible now.
Human beings really have story hardwired into them. We have story in us, it's in our genes. Kids do it naturally.
Once children can feel a story and listen and learn to love a good story, it just makes their day.
Phantoms, he bragged. You have got to be.
There's drama created, and their whole body is put into motion. So from their tips of their toes to their fingertips, I mean, their entire body becomes part of the story.
She was as clear as snow, as clear as crystal. She looked him right in the eye.
Each year, every time I work with children telling stories, I'm just amazed at the success that I see.
The ability to observe people, see how your language is affecting them, to modify what you're doing, makes the storytelling experience to be invaluable.
I think it makes them more informed readers because they have had a part in making the story their own.
Martha and Mitch have given us an amazing collection of stories over here. After you've read at least 15 different stories, from this list of 15, you're going to select your top 3 favorites.
Students have to have a great selection of stories because the story that they pick has to be one that they really, really enjoy. Because every student wants to have a story that they just love to tell.
Do you remember that? No kidding.
It's very important that every student feels successful, and so you want to have a real variety of stories. You want to have some that are very simple and short, and then you want to have some that are much more complicated. You want to have some that are scary, some that are purely for entertainment, and of course you want to have some in there that are more poignant, that teach lessons, those stories that explain something about the world.
For hundreds and hundreds of years, a folktale has been passed from one person to another, and we're lucky that sometime in history someone finally wrote it down, or we might not know it today.
Now, when that story was told a long time ago from one person to another, was it the same every time? No, not at all.
We try to impress upon the students right from the beginning that they are not supposed to tell the stories as it is written down on the page. These are stories that have evolved for hundreds and hundreds of years. We encourage them to make the story their own and to tell it in their own words.
Now, your job is going to be to look at your story that you've selected and then make a series of pictures to remind you of the important parts. It's meant to remind you of the things that happen in the story.
One of the first things that we have students do is to make a story map or outline. That way they can get away from the words. They can think of that story as a series of pictures rather than a series of just words. One thing that storytelling does in the classroom is it can create a wonderful community in that classroom. Students learn how important it is to work together, to help each other, to be kind to each other. And if you create that sense of community in your classroom, it's going to go a long way to helping you teach all sorts of different things.
Neha, miss, sorry to interrupt you, miss. Please mute everyone. Yes, of course. So there is in a story, there is 4 C's. First is concept, characters, conflicts, and context. So we can describe it. First, concept. Storytelling is the vivid description of ideas, beliefs, personal experience, and life lesson through stories or narratives that evoke powerful emotions and insights. Second one is characters. Characters, a story usually include a number of characters, each with a different role or purpose. Regardless of how many characters a story has, however, there is almost always a protagonist and antagonist. Central characters, their character are vital to the development of the story. The plot revolves around them. Third one is conflicts. Traditionally, conflicts is a major literacy elements of narrative or dramatic structures that creates challenges in a story by adding a certain recording in progress. Hello? अरे फोन उठा के बोलता कौन है ये? Okay, sir.
And proceed.
Hello? Hello? It's been this. Can you listen? Yes, ma'am. So conflict. Traditionally, conflicts is a major literacy element of narrative and dramatic structures that creates challenges in a story. The adding uncertainty as to whether the goal will be achieved. In work of narrative, conflict is the challenges main characters need to solve to achieve their goals. Now, fourth one is the context. Simply, context means circumstance forming a background of an events, ideas, or statements in such a way as to enable readers to understand the narrative or a literacy thesis. Most of us are telling family and uncertain story with connections. Those connections remain inclusive and tenure without contact. Best storytelling method: immerse your in the story, tell a personal story, create suspense, bring characters to life in with a positive tech. This is very important in our classroom also. We are using a story, create a suspense. When we create a suspense, student can listen very carefully कि what is coming up the next. बच्चे सुनने के लिए, स्टूडेंट सुनने के लिए, उस चीज के लिए, और वो उत्साहित हो जाते हैं कि आगे क्या होने वाला है, इवन आगे टीचर और क्या बताने वाली है. जिस तरह हम लोग मूवी देखते हैं, मूवी में आगे का इवन सीरियल्स देखते हैं, आगे की स्टोरी क्यों इतनी क्रिटिकल बना दी जाती है, हमें सस्पेंस देखने का मन होता है. नेक्स्ट डे हम वेट करते हैं कि कल फिर से ये सीरियल आएगा इस टाइम पर और हम बैठ के ये सीरियल देखेंगे. सो जो भी सीरियल्स बनाते हैं, डायरेक्टर्स होते हैं, ठीक है, दे नो कि सस्पेंस क्रिएट करके हम लोगों के मन को जज कर सकते हैं, इवन हम उन्हें देखने के लिए इम्प्रेस कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, सो क्रिएट अ सस्पेंस. नाउ easy step to create great storytelling. Create characters. हर स्टोरी में एक कैरेक्टर होता है. जैसे हमारी स्टोरी में यहाँ पर जो स्टोरी मैंने सुनाया था, द thief and the sage, their war character was a Kalu and the Maharaj Pandit ji. So like a character, make a character. Make your storytelling big or small. It's not matter. It's very small or it's very big. Have fully control on your facial expression. Facial expression is a very important thing. Story बोलते वक्त आपके फेस पर अगर पॉजेस नहीं आएंगे, बच्चों को भी वो फील नहीं होगा. अगर हम पॉजेस लाते हैं अपने स्टोरी में, वो फेस रिएक्शंस लाते हैं, तो वो बच्चे वैसा ही फील कर लेते हैं. इवन वो उसमें घुस जाते हैं कि हम स्टोरी के कैरेक्टर में चले गए हैं, हम वही चीज हो रहा है हमारे सामने, ऐसा वो फील करने लग जाते हैं. सो have a full control of your fixed experience. Take with your hands. Hand का movement होना चाहिए. Create a storytelling atmosphere in your classroom. Win the audience with the first line. Tell the story with feelings. Involve the audience in the story. Slow down for the ending. And the last always we will on the slope. Now, how to tell story? Mastering storytelling fundamentals. Engage your audience. Build the scene. Build tension and release tensions. Focus on what's important. Keep the flow logical. Make it feel conclusive. Making a story exciting and fun. The tools of the teller. Your voice, your bodies, your face expression, your imagination, your enthusiasm, even spirit. It's very important in your story. Other benefits like making connections. Benefits of story in early childhood education: improve language skill, boost memories, faster imagination, creative thinking, and cognitive skills. Encourage for learning, writing, and reading. Develop cultural and moral understanding. Stories are lexical lessons. Stories are powerful source of imaginations. Story can lead the children toward creative thinking than writing. Stories can make your class more communicative. Story can be more helpful, make a child confident. Story can introduce cultural activities. Story build moral values in an interesting way. Story enhance public speaking skill. Stories reduce stage fear also. Now I can share one more videos also. This is visible? Kavita miss, this is visible? Yes, yes. Yes, ma'am. Hello. Neha miss, video is not visible over here. Only your PPT slide is visible over here. Okay. Yes, visible. Okay, ma'am.
Stories and songs are one of the most powerful ways to put things in the brain and help children remember. I'm going to share a few simple stories with you. The first one is a file folder story. And when you tell these stories to children, they'll probably say, do it again, do it again, do it again. Whenever you repeat them, that gives them confidence and that helps them become familiar with the story. And then they can learn to retell the story. So once upon a time, there was a little black cat, and he got tired of being black. So he said, say it with me. I'm Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And he changed from being a black cat to being a blue cat. He went down to the pond to look at himself, and he accidentally fell in. Now, when Timmy Turtle came along and took him ashore, Scat decided he didn't want to be blue anymore, and he said, say it with me. I'm Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And he changed from being a blue cat to being a red cat. He was walking down the road and the other animals started laughing at him. Who ever heard of a red cat? So Scat decided he didn't want to be red anymore, and he said, I'm Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And he changed from being a red cat to being a green cat. He went to play with his brothers and sisters in the grass, but they couldn't see him because he was green like the grass. So Scat decided he didn't want to be green anymore, and he said, Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And he changed from being a green cat to being a yellow cat. He went walking in the woods, and who did he run into but his cousin Leo the lion? Leo the lion said, "Rawr, I'm the only cat who can be yellow." So Scat decided he didn't want to be yellow anymore, and he said, I'm Scat the cat, I'm sassy and fat, and I can change my colors just like that. And he changed back into being a black cat because being yourself is the best thing that you can be. And I like you just now. What are children learning with us? So many things. They're learning colors, they're learning a sequence and a pattern, they're learning rhyme, oral language. Most importantly, I like you just the way you are. Now, if you'd like to make this story, we've got a link where you can download the pattern. If you cut a cat out of the front of the file folder and then you glue the words to the back, it will look like you know the story and you can just read it off the back of the file folder. This is another idea for creative storytelling with the children. And you can buy flannel boards, but look at this one. It's just staples on the sides of a file folder, and you've got felt glued to the front, and then you can put the pieces in here. And this idea came from a teacher who said that this was the most popular prop in her storytelling center because what she did was she put Velcro on the back of the children's pictures. But she said their favorite thing was her because they would take her. I told you to sit down now. Now get over here and listen to this story. If you want to see what you sound like, give the children a little puppet of you and you might be surprised. I think it would also be fun to maybe have some of your other school helpers, maybe the principal, maybe the PE teacher, bus drivers, things like that for the children to interact and make up some stories. This is a story that I used to tell around Halloween, and I would start telling it the beginning of October, and my children wanted to hear it every day, so I would tell it each day. At the end of the day, let one child take it home. The parents love this story so much, I also gave them a copy of this story. And so a lot of the things that you do, they kind of get confused by the time they get home. But if you think about putting these stories or the finger plays or the rhymes on your website or sending them home with the children, then it will enable the parents to retell the story at home with their own children. So this is about a little old lady who lived in an orange house that was half a circle with a chimney at the bottom. Now, this little old lady was the nicest little old
She wanted to have dough for the little birds, so Mother Bird and Father Bird built the nest, and Mother Bird sat on the nest, and she laid a beautiful egg, and she tucked the egg down in the nest. And when the wind would blow, she'd have to sit there. And when it would storm, she'd have to sit there. And when it would lightning and thunder, she'd have to sit there. She had to protect her little egg and keep it warm. Now, fortunately, she made friends with some little bugs who lived in the tree. And there's one little bug, and he would come every day and talk to Mother Bird. And here's the other little bug, and she'd come every day and talk to Mother Bird so she wasn't so lonely. Now, after Mother Bird had sat on the egg a long time, she heard a little crack, and she looked down, and there was a little crack in the egg. And then she heard a great big crack. And she looked down, and there was a great big crack in the egg. And do you know what came out of that egg? Out came a little baby bird. This is a tell and draw story. One day, my dog Bingo disappeared. So I went to the park to see if I could find my dog Bingo. When I got there, I accidentally stepped in a pile of bumblebees, and they came out and they swarmed all around me. I wanted to get away from them, so I saw a pond of water, and I jumped in the pond, but they were still there. I saw a big hill, so I ran to the top of the hill, and when I got to the top of the hill, I saw 2 doors with 2 doorknobs. I knocked on the doors and I said, "Let me in, let me in." But nobody heard me and nobody let me in. So I ran down one side of the hill, and then I ran down the other side of the hill. Has anybody seen my dog Bingo? Now, when you do this with the children, they'll say, "There's your dog, there's your dog." And when you retell this story, don't use the name Bingo. Use your dog's name. So if your dog's name is Rascal or your dog's name is Baxter, whatever it might be, use your dog's name in the story. Before long, if you keep telling this story, the children will be able to tell you what part comes next. And that's so good for sequencing and retelling a story, which is one of your standards.
So, what is the importance of storytelling in the classroom? Being able to relate to a story help student remember information because the content is meaningful. In addition, story allows students to discover and develop their imagination and creativity. So there is a conclusion. This storytelling information regarding storytelling. Storytelling can touch on all skills in language development. It's fun, creative, and very effective. Involve the use of whole body, holistic teaching method. Storytelling method provides huge space for fantastic and creativity. All languages skills, functions, and structures may be taught by story. Storytelling method is an important teaching technique. Story guide a human for his or her whole life and use them when the human learn his or her mother tongue. Consequently, it is natural to learn a language with the help of story. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
Nehamit, for this nice session. We enjoyed it very much, and the videos, all the PPTs were selected so nicely. Thank you for this session. Thank you, everyone, for joining this session. And thank you, Principal Ma'am. Now we can conclude here. So, good night, everyone.
Good night, sir.
Right.
Good night, sir.
Neha, miss, you can end the meeting.
Okay, miss.
Recording stopped.